Hi, everybody. Here I am with another special guest. Yes, I'll say this every time. If she wasn't special, she would be a guest. Of course, everybody's special. So I have Catherine here today. I will ask her. She already knows to pronounce her name properly. But I decided to invite Catherine to be at the podcast because this is about people who work with languages from whatever perspective, and she works with language from a really, really amazing perspective. It's needed, it's necessary, it's amazing, it's philosophical, it's practical, it's everything at the same time. You probably have seen her post, her profile on LinkedIn. Yes, the source of truth, right? And at least the source of a lot of interesting people in our lives, for sure. At least I speak for myself. So I just decided to invite Catherine because obviously she's doing an amazing job in some pretty interesting projects that she has going on. But before we get into those details, let's just get to know Catherine a little bit because she has one of those stories like a full blown change or not. Maybe it wasn't such a radical change, but from one job to becoming a language worker, right? A translator, someone or a communicator, right? So let's see how that went. Thank you so much, Catherine, for being here. It's a pleasure to see you again. We've talked once, so it's great to see you again. Thank you so much for accepting.
Thank you, Rita, for having me. I was really looking forward to this, and yeah, it's awesome to be here. And I never think that my story is special, but thank you for thinking that. uh, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So you were working as a nurse for most of your life, right?
Yeah, right.
Of your adult
So
life.
uh, actually, even as I was a kid, like my medical journey started very early. With the first doctor's toy when I was 3, but then I do remember that still. That was like a little, toolbox with doctor's toys.
Hmm. Hmm.
And my family, or my mom, I grew up with my mom and my grandma, and they started realizing that this was becoming kind of an obsession or a thing. Um, so they put me into the youth department of the Red Cross in Germany when I was 6.
Oh.
So I started learning medicine or first aid even when I wasn't at school. Like in Germany, we go to school when we're 7.
Mm.
So and that's where my medical journey really started. As soon as I could read, I started reading all the self-diagnosis books from my grandma. She used to have them lying around. And yeah, I went to formal training when I was 17, to nursing training. And then I never did anything else until I was 33 or 4, something like that. And then I was forced to change. A lot of things happened, and a lot of things changed in my life. Uh, we moved to Sweden, and I got some health conditions which prevented me from nursing, which was
Oh.
terrible at that time because I thought I couldn't do anything else than nursing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I picked the Swedish language up very easily. And then my mother-in-law and my daughter, they said, why don't you do anything with languages? Because I was lost. I was like, kind of, what am I going to do with my life,
Hmm.
if I can't nurse? And then I did that. Yeah, I started doing like proper courses and in Swedish, and did some translator courses and all this kind of stuff. Lots and lots of courses. I always did lots of courses and trainings. And and then slowly I progressed. I started wide, like I wanted to have all the doors opened. So my very first translation was actually fashion. And
Oh.
I'm not a fashionista. I'm not a fashionista. I'm not. I don't even know the German words. It was really hard and I sucked at it. Um, but I started realizing that I do need medicine in my life. And then I just kind of niched down further and further and
Oh,
went
wow.
into the medical translation business.
Hmm. So when you were a nurse in the early beginnings, did you work in your own country? Did you have to already use foreign languages? Did you learn English because you were interested? Did you learn it because you needed to? How did the other languages that you know come into your life? Of course, Swedish was a bit later, and because you're there. But what about English, for example? I mean, it
Yeah,
just
right.
just didn't occur to you, right?
No, not
Didn't.
really. No, it's just like, of course, we learned English at school,
Hmm.
but I didn't. Yeah, you don't really. I know you don't really learn a language like to speak it fluently. And I met my husband very early, when I was 18, and when I was 20, we started doing some backpacking and traveling. And in
Oh,
preparation for that, I studied medical English. I did a medical English course
but how come
because,
you were backpacking and you did medical English?
well,
What was
oh,
the
yes,
philosophy
yes,
behind
yes.
it?
Sorry. Our plan was to go to New Zealand and to
Uh-huh.
Australia, and their language is English. So
Right.
uh, I wanted to work in my profession there because I'm one of
Ah.
those backpackers who already had some studies, who already had a, profession. Most backpackers don't go before they have their training. They used to
Hmm.
do school and then they go backpacking and then they don't
Right.
have any profession. So, but I
Hmm.
had a profession already, and
Okay.
I was passionate about it, and I wanted to do nursing in other countries as well and see how is it working there, how are the
So like
systems working.
temporarily, right? The idea was to work there temporarily as
Yeah,
a visitor, I guess. And then
yeah.
you would see what the story was, you would decide.
Yeah, that was the idea. Like the idea was 1 year New Zealand, 1 year Australia, check it out. And I mean, lots of Germans did that back in those days and still do. Um, it's called work and travel. And lots of Europeans actually do that. It's a very common thing to do that here when once you're done with school.
Mm,
And the idea was to go there to visit, to earn some money, and then use this
of
money
course.
to travel as well. And
Hmm.
it's best to have, like, if you have a profession, then it's best to work in your profession because then you would earn most of the money. Yeah, those fruit picker jobs, they don't
Mm,
give you a lot of money.
of course.
Yeah. And, but I didn't want to, like, I did want to be prepared to go there. And that's why I did the medical English course
Okay,
in
now
it,
it makes
like,
sense.
before we traveled. Yeah. Uh, yeah. And then I worked in rest homes in New Zealand and Australia. Of course, also in cafes and bars in between, and was fun too. But I did see how the system works, and yeah, big changes, big differences to Germany.
Mm.
Not all bad, not all good.
Right.
I mean, healthcare systems suck everywhere, if I can be honest. Yeah, and then we came back to Germany, and then actually, I never wanted, or we both didn't want to come back to Germany
Mm,
because we don't feel so German.
okay.
Yes. But we moved back, and then 12 years later, we moved to Sweden. It's a
Ah,
very short version of it. Yeah.
right.
And I offer also Latin to German translations.
Yes, I was looking at that and I was a bit like, okay, we have to mention this Latin here in the middle of
Yeah.
the languages that are alive. There is a dead one.
Right, there's that one, right? I keep getting asked about that, which is why I'm mentioning it.
Of
I
course.
always forget about it that I do that, but I have this one client. It's
Mm,
Imaios. I'm allowed to tell them to talk about it, and they have a really amazing platform where you can go like through CTs or X-rays, and then you scroll through, and you have all the Latin names there, and I'm translating those names into German.
mm,
Yeah. So this is Latin is a dead language. It's not a language that I
right.
don't translate books or anything. But those special medical terms, I would translate
Uh-huh.
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what I thought a little bit.
yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah, that's
I was
that's
not
what it
expecting
is.
you to go and translate extensive books and dialogues and things that
Yeah,
are happening
yeah.
right now in technology.
Yeah. But
That would be interesting though.
people ask me, people don't like, of course, how do they know? Yeah. So it's good to clarify that. Yeah.
Yeah, because basically medical related technical names really are usually in Latin, or I guess there's
Or
probably
Greek,
some
yeah.
Greek roots root too, but usually in Latin for whatever was actually decided by the community, I guess, in the 18th century. So that has
Yeah.
there's a lot of ties to terminology when it comes to that. So it's interesting to me. So that's great. So when you then were faced with not being able to do the thing that you usually do, then how did you go from not knowing what to do to deciding to work in languages and then having the first few projects, including that one in fashion, right? So there was something that happened in between so that you could somehow trace a new path, right? So you thought
Yeah.
about it and then you acted on it, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm a very active person. It's like I always need a plan, and when I don't have a plan, I feel lost, and then I don't like to feel lost. But I
Okay.
did feel lost for a few months actually. When I mean, I got my diagnosis with, and then the doctor said you shouldn't do nursing anymore. It's nothing so serious, but it's just that it's something with my back. So I'm not dying or
Mm-hmm.
anything. It's
It's
just
very active. It's very demanding from physical
exactly.
activity. Mm-hmm.
And I have like when I saw my MRI, I say record, it was like, oh my God, I'm not 70, am I? So my bones are really not well. Let's say this.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, they said I shouldn't work in my profession anymore. And then the hospital I worked in, they gave me another position. Luckily, I was really glad. They were looking for someone who would build up a bed management, we called it. So I would build something that would manage the incoming and outgoing patients. Because I used to
Mm-hmm.
work in the ER, in the emergency room, and we always had the trouble that people were stuck there for hours because we didn't know when the beds were, empty for like when
Right.
patient went home and then the next patient can come. And this was crazy. It was a mess, really. So they gave me the position and they asked me if I would like to do that. And it was like the first kind of job in that I did do a lot of management for my team. I did
Mm-hmm.
that, but not in that kind of big scale. Anyway, I seem to do quite a good job because it's still running. That's 5 years ago, and the
Mm-hmm.
people are still working with it. But at the same time, we were like deciding, okay, now we leave Germany. It was the Corona times. It was kids being at home for almost 3 years. My husband being trying to work and homeschool and the kindergarten kid, and this was crazy times. So we decided to leave for good because we never felt like we belong anyway. And then we went to Sweden, and the first school year, I was working at the school of my kids to kind of
Mm-hmm.
guide them through the process, the change, and all this stuff. And I was lucky enough to get a job there.
Wow.
So yeah, I worked at the kitchen and as a here's say that the staff who looks after the kids in the afternoons, like
Right.
not a teacher, but the
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Mm-hmm.
you would say teacher in English, but I'm not a
It's
teacher.
possible.
Yeah, so I was looking after kids and cooked for them. It was a tiny school, really tiny school with 80 kids. And there I learned Swedish. And then in this process, as I said, my daughter, my mother-in-law, they came visit us and they were like, "Oh, your Swedish is great already. How did you do that?" So, and then they triggered me. And then actually, I saw a post on Facebook from the Translator Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it a few times. And Inge-Lise was just talking to me. She's like, you have a passion and you like languages and all this stuff, And I felt like, oh, she's talking to me, right? So I'm not a Facebook fan. I'm not Facebook is not for me, but in Sweden, you can't survive without Facebook. That's why I had it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very common thing to have Facebook here.
okay.
And well, I went for the course and I felt very good prepared after the course and just started doing what they said I should do. And then I got my first clients and then it
So
grew.
you like sent out your resume or CV to agencies. You
Yeah.
started that way, right? A classic approach like any other person who's
Yeah, I mean
working in the
the
industry.
Translator Academy they offered like what was in the price included was that you
Mm.
create your material like LinkedIn profile, your CV, a
Oh,
cover
wow.
letter, and all this stuff, and then you
Uh-huh.
can send it to them, and they will give you feedback on it.
Evaluate. Mm.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that was great. I had a really good team behind myself. So being completely new into the world of freelance translating. Yeah, and I just yeah, that's what I did. The catch-up effect. I don't know if you heard about it. I just sent out all the my CVs and all this stuff to all the agencies that I found, and in the beginning, I took what I got. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't look after the price really. I know people will hate me for that, but you have to start somewhere.
Yes, of course.
If I would do it again, I would probably go more for volunteer work, but by that
Mm-hmm.
time, I didn't had that as
Yeah.
an option in my mind. So
Of course,
anyway,
you were not, so informed about how things work and all that. So you
right.
did a great job, right? Just, you did whatever crossed your mind so that you could evolve, right?
It
So,
it, it worked.
how so how did you go from that to actually being recognized as a professional in this specific medical, nursing, or life sciences field?
Well, a lot happened in those. It's been only 2.5 years now. So I started a translator. I got my first translator jobs, and I got a real big job only 3 months after I started doing this. What was like, whoa, okay, an 8,000 euro job is like, I didn't even know you can earn that much money with translating. But okay, I got it. And then I always need new things. I can't do only one thing. I get bored very fast.
Yeah.
So I was more looking like, okay, I need more income sources and I don't want to do only translation, what is related. So I started writing and I went into the SEO, so search engine optimization
Oh,
writing,
SEO. Yeah.
SEO, yeah. And I met Maya, and Maya, she is a CEO instructor, or she works with a
Mm-hmm.
CEO, and I
Yeah.
call it CEO, SEO, sorry.
SEO.
Yes, I'm too lazy, so it's CEO. No. So anyway, she did that, and she was looking for volunteers who would try her course, which she set up. And she asked
Mm-hmm.
me if I want to participate, and I did, and I learned a lot. And then I had a personal lesson with her. Do you call it lesson? Well, we had a talk and we went through.
Mm-hmm.
I already had a website at this time, and she checked out my website and she's like, I had a picture like with a dress and a white collar, really strict face. My intention when I made the picture was I want to look serious. I want to
Serious.
take, yeah, I want to be taken seriously. And then she's like, you look like a lawyer on that picture.
Uh,
Nobody would think that you would be a medical translator, So if a translator, then maybe law. And I'm like, oh, right, okay. This was completely not what I intended. But she hit a few nerves, and I completely recreated my website and also started doing SEO on my website and started writing
mm-hmm.
blogs. And that's all thanks to Maya because she taught me so much and she gave me food for thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I started also in this process to more value my medical background because I didn't put that in the focus. I didn't want to be seen as a nurse. I wanted to be
Mm,
seen as a professional translator.
right.
But Maya really changed my mind setting, and she's like, "That is what you are, and why would you not want to be that anymore? Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the core of myself."
That's what's so particular about you, right?
Right, right. And once I started doing this, and once I started positioning myself differently, then I felt also more well in this pair of shoes. It felt more
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, that can be me. That's me. And then it grew and it grew, and my website grows and grows. And then MetTalks came. Um, I started doing
Well, let's talk
MetTalks.
about it, right?
Oh
Because
yes,
it's like I started it, but what is it?
yeah. So I met many 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 really cool people along the way.
Yes, I
This
know.
is so I met Doris, and she's a Brazilian translator. Oh no,
Mm-hmm.
interpreter. Sorry, she's an
Yes, yes,
interpreter.
yeah, no. Yeah, she's an
You know,
interpreter for sure.
And she's just another wonderful person which crossed my way, and I don't know, it just kind of was a dynamic. She's like, yeah, what do you think? We should have like a platform to educate and to get people to talk about things and stuff. And out of this, we MedTalks was born, and also that became more and more professional.
So is it a podcast? Is it blogs?
It is something in between. It is, we have, I record it and it's a webinar because we have slides as well. We don't
Mm-hmm.
always use or need the slides. I like to have them
Wow,
as
that's a
a,
first.
no worries.
Sorry.
No worries. I like to have the slides as a supportive visual. This is
Mm-hmm.
why it's a webinar. But I do think about the whole podcast. People also often just listen to it. So on YouTube, it's listed under podcasts
Mm-hmm.
because it is often enough. But for example, after this call, we have another Met talk with Oi Party, and there we have some like the people joining. They will also share some slides. So it's
Oh.
something in between.
Mm-hmm.
I'll upload it on my website, and then you can see also the transcription
Mm-hmm.
nowadays because I was told it would be nice to have transcriptions. And thanks to my tool, that happens automatically. It's not
Mm-hmm.
100%, but I can just upload it too and offer it. Yeah, unfortunately, Doris had too much to do in the journey, and now MetTalks is only me. But it's still good. I mean, I have I have such a list of guests I want to invite.
Oh,
Um,
tell me about it.
I know. It's like, oh my gosh, when? Right?
I already have 16 people on my list for next year.
Yeah, same. I just had another invitation today. I just found some guy. I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to you too. Yeah.
And then it becomes a need, right? Oh, I need to talk to this person. So I totally get it. I totally get it.
Absolutely. And it's
So,
always also educational for me, when I talk to the people. I mean, that's how it started. It's an educational platform and to
mhm.
get people together and network. And we connected with many really cool people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of creating something.
Yeah.
You start by doing it yourself. I mean, I never did because I've always, all my episodes are always with somebody else.
Yeah, that was the
But
same. Yeah.
yeah, but I guess I could shake it up a little bit from now on, and I have a few ideas to introduce like the solo episodes finally. But it's true that it's very good for us as hosts and people who think about it, who actually have this freedom of talking to people who have so many interesting things to say and to teach. And we're the
Yeah.
first ones to actually benefit from it. And then we just share it with everybody else. So I guess it's, it's our way of bringing things to the whole community with
Yeah.
also learning things ourselves. So talking about the community, I saw you because all of a sudden you are showing up on my feed all the time because of this other project that you have. So let's talk about it because I'm sure that everybody has seen it, or a lot of people have seen it, and it's so cool. So you did your medical, you became a full-blown medical translator, and then I guess you started focusing specifically on the way that institutions, professionals start talking to their patients in under many circumstances, particularly when we talk about cancer. And I guess, was this a focus before you started translating and being a communicator, or was this something that you realized once you've stopped working with the actual patients and you started thinking about it from a more communication oriented point of view? How did that happen, that specific focus?
That is a very good question, actually. Um, well, I was never a plain cancer nurse, only working
Hmm.
with cancer patients, but of course, I had lots of cancer patients during my career. I was actively nursing for over 20 years. And when I started my blog, writing my blog, all those memories came up and all those traumas and all those people I guided in their journey. And what came out most were cancer patients that stuck in my head. And
Hmm.
somehow I believe that things come to you when it's ripe, when time is up for it to come
Hmm.
to you. And the same is like more and more clients came to me for the translation, and that was always related about cancer, MS, and clinical trials with rare diseases, and obviously
MS is multiple
multiple
sclerosis, I
sclerosis.
imagine.
Yes. So I had that too as a main focus. And when you work in clinical trials, you have many rare diseases and many clinical trials, like so many are about cancer. So
Hmm.
everything just came kind of together. And even though I'm a nurse, I don't know everything about cancer. So I had to look up things all the time. And I'm really bad at memorizing stuff. So I kept writing it down. So I kept writing down the biomarkers, which biomarker is for what. And just because I didn't have to know that, but I wanted to know to really translate the text into something that is useful. And you need to know what you're writing about. So I kept writing it up, and then I kept posting about cancer language, And it came more and more to my like when you go to clinical trials, you're more like, okay, this is not patient friendly. You know, how is a patient in this state? Like, I remember once I translated a phase one trial informed consent form,
Mhm.
and uh, s- the side effects, the adverse effects that were written there were so harsh. They were so bad, and I started crying on my desk because I saw the patients sitting here. I know what those patients look like. They were finally ill, you know, it's like stage 4 and no hope. And this was this kind for this study was for this kind of patients, you know, when you could see at the inclusion criteria. And I had in mind how sick they are, how badly they can concentrate. And it hit me like a train. It's like, no way, we can't write like this for patients, you know. And yeah, then cancer, I wrote it all up. And then I actually wanted to start writing a more blogs about cancer language. And became bigger and bigger and bigger. And my folder became bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm like, okay, this could actually also be a book. I
Mhm.
mean, this could be a guide for medical communicators to understand the cancer language because cancer is something that gets like more and more people become cancer. It raises the numbers raises. It's crazy, but also it's a big field that many medical communicators will deal with.
Mhm.
So I thought I share my knowledge. I share what I wrote down for myself. And while
Mhm.
doing this, it became more like, but patients also need to understand better what is going on because and then I started reflecting how was it when I was working as a nurse, and yes, I
Mhm.
was like the interpreter between the patient and the doctor always. The doctor
Mhm.
would say blah 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 and the patient would understand
Mhm.
nothing, and I would
Mhm.
say the doctor just said that, you know. So so I did that actually always already.
So you were like a mediator. So you're used to that role, and you
Yeah,
realized that that could be something that you could bring a lot of value into.
I at least I thought, why not, you know, why not try, why not write it down, and why not put it there. And then, as I said, it started to be something for my colleagues, but then I rewrote it like it's more for patients and their caregivers as well. Something that is
Mhm.
often forgotten is the caregivers,
Mhm.
the silent heroes. They are really. And then for medical communicators. So my book is structured. It's written for patients, and then you will find a section with extra tips and tricks for medical communicators. And this way, I try to serve everyone involved in the process.
Mhm. And speaking about serving, this is a voluntary project, right? So that's important to say.
It's crazy. Yeah. I don't know. I put out the book. All right. I wrote the book. Then
Mhm.
I met Mark and Noor, and we talked about it. And then they are like, yeah, we're just opening the Art of Diversity Press, and we would love your book to be published under our name. I was like, all right, great.
Mhm.
I didn't even publish it at that moment. You know, I was just still writing and talking about it.
Mhm.
And then we published it, and then I went to France this year in October and it was a convention for medical communicators, and I talked about the book. And wow, after this, there was this storm you mentioned on LinkedIn. People came and wanted to be a part of it. People were so involved and were so kind and saying, you know, we volunteer because this project is amazing and it helps people. And I'm still trying to get it all together. You know, it's so much happened in the last. It's only been 3 months now, yeah.
Mhm.
And I just wrote it down in preparation of this talk. We have 18 languages.
Oh, wow, there was preparation for the talk. I'm glad someone did it.
Yeah, I was like, I needed to get into the how to speak cancer thought. Where did it come from, and what does it actually? Because
That's great.
I was talking to Noor in the morning. It's like, so much happened. I can't even, you know, focus and put it all together. So I thought to
Mm.
reorganize my
You have a
head.
bit of a timeline in your head so that you can
Yeah, just
put
have
things in
like a red thread.
boxes.
Exactly. Yeah, and we are 33 people, translators and reviewers in this process so far. And there are still people coming and wanting to translate it in more languages, and they are all volunteers. And it's, wow, it's a movement, really. It's, I can't believe it, really, what happened. Yeah.
So that shows us the need that everybody's feeling, either if they have been touched by cancer in their families or themselves, or from a communication point of view, because we all understand the urgency, right? And the need and the amazing work that is done when you actually pay a lot of attention and put the focus on the patient, because usually, medical jargon, the whole
Yeah.
thing, I've been to the through the process a little bit, because I was going with my person to their consultations and all of that. And of course, you have to pay a lot of attention. And patients are usually, like you mentioned, and this is what I witnessed too, in a state of mind where they don't want to necessarily deal with the details and the technical things. So I was there a bit more in that role. Right, not that I understand fully, because of course they were already digesting it for me, but still it was easier for me to process the information, to explain the information, not because of vocabulary, but because my mind was more available to
Yeah.
understand, because I was not the one, right, who was being talked about. So it is very, very important. I saw it firsthand. I see it every day. So I understand that this is really an unbelievable project, and I'm sure it will bring you a lot more amazing things, because this is what you deserve for, like, even being the mastermind
Oh,
behind the
thank
whole
you.
project, right? So I think it's one of the things that we have to spread the word about, because it's so, so relevant, and it just touches everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, because you are touched by this. And
Yeah.
also the thought that, not necessarily for this disease in particular. This disease is many diseases, right? Like it's many things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the whole idea of focusing on the patient and the patient needs when they are going through their process, whatever it is really a new mindset that should be
Yeah.
also, I'm sure this will inspire other groups or other people, or even other people who are in languages and are also patients for other
Yeah.
diseases, right? So a lot of them are advocates, I guess that's what you call it, for their
Yeah.
own diseases, because they understand this need for someone who understands both the language that it's being spoken, and then the effects and all that come from, living with whatever you have, because it's many, many diseases, and
Yeah.
everything in general that comes from hospitals and doctors should really be treated in a very special way, because once you know that you have something, your state of mind is a little bit less receptive, I would say, because you have to all of a sudden start looking at yourself and start worrying about yourself, right? So I guess
Absolutely.
this is unbelievable, and there's maybe we will hear about other projects, and you will be the reference,
I
right?
mean,
Someone who to consult.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I am actually writing a second book now with Keith about clinical trials to make them more approachable for people who might join a trial, who want to
Mhm.
join, but it's just another sterile topic. It's just something that is not connected with the normal people, you know. Clinical
Mhm.
trials is like, you know, the sterile white walls. That's what most
You
people
think
have
about
in
a
mind.
laboratory, right? Or
Yeah, yeah, precis. And some frogs and mice and stuff. But uh,
exactly.
there is so much more about it, and we wrap this information about what clinical trials are and all the stuff that needs to know about a clinical trial. We wrap that in stories from people who are in clinical trials, from people who are working with clinical trials,
Mm.
to make it again more human, to show that medicine is not just laboratories. It's there are people working in there for people, you know. And
Mm.
that's the same with any medical language. I was asked from one of my wonderful how to speak cancer family members if I would consider writing a book about type 1 diabetes in the same style. And I have many ideas what I could write about cardiac
I
diseases,
can
you
only
know.
imagine, right? It's the whole
Yeah,
range of possibilities, I suppose.
just you
So
know
it's
that
like a
the first book.
collection, right? How to speak,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then
That's what I have in mind. How to speak type 1 diabetes, how to speak cardiac conditions, whatever. Yeah. So there's many things. I'm not a pro in everything, but you learn, you know, and
but
I
you're now
have
building a
colleagues.
team. right? You're
Exactly,
building a team
exactly.
around you. I suppose some of them are professionals in language fields, other are in other professionals. So it's since you're the
Yeah,
uniting point, right? Like the
yeah,
beacon, as they say. So
yeah,
then I guess you can then, help people, other people, because it cannot be you doing the description
everything. Yeah,
and all of it for everything. But I'm
yeah.
sure that you could be, it's a full-blown project that you can take for the rest of your life.
That's what it feels like. It's like a life's mission. It's like something, okay, that's it. That's what everything else wraps around. I do the translations in the clinical trials. I do the cancer translations. I do those projects. I do write blogs. I want to get more into my blog writing again. I haven't had time for that the past month.
I
But
guess
it
it's easy
is,
for us involved in this industry and on LinkedIn and all of that. Like I told you before, I think there's lots of things you can do. I understand
yeah,
you're only one person, so other people need to join this team. And
yeah.
then one day maybe the structure will change and, it will be a bigger and bigger and bigger project because definitely the subject deserves it and you definitely
Oh,
deserve
thank
it.
you. So sweet of you. Thank you.
No, it's just a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, I never see myself like that. It's just I'm just doing what I do, It's I was just today thinking I keep hearing that this is all really amazing what I do, and it's like I couldn't do anything else, I could not do it. And once I something sticks in my
Since you
head,
were
then
6, right? Since you were 6, you were thinking about 3.
no, seriously, yeah. I was when I was 8, or when I was a child, maybe I shared that story too. I had severe migraine attacks until I was adult. It called juvenile migraines. And so I had every week, at least once, I wasn't at school because I had a migraine. It was really,
Oh.
really, really intense. And I started reading the books for my grandma, and then there was the brain tumor. This is where cancer started actually in my mind. And there was the brain tumor section, and all the symptoms like the dizziness, the headaches, the not feeling well and stuff. With 8 years, I understood already this is what I have. And I have a brain tumor, I know that. And that's also where my cancer fear, like I have quite a fear about getting cancer too.
Hmm.
And this is where it started. And back in those days, cancer was not curable. That's 30 years ago now. So it
Hmm.
was really bad, same as AIDS, HIV. It was a disaster, and my grandma wasn't very sensitive when it came to that because the news were on all the time. And I heard
Hmm.
terrible news about cancer and HIV and stuff. So when I was 10, I had my first presentation at school about HIV and
Oh.
cancer. So you see, there is a red thread in my life. So, and what I just realized today, actually, when I talked to Noor again, is that writing the book, creating this, I'm not just writing a book. You create something. The
Hmm.
drawings of my daughter in the book, and the poem of Noor in the book, and it's a thing really, and so creating this book and really educating myself about cancer deeply also helped me to get from fear to knowledge to I'm not as, of course, I don't want to get cancer, but if I should get it now, I feel more equipped. I feel more like a
Hmm.
warrior having his sword. And this makes me feel much, much better. And even if that helps anyone in this point of view who hasn't been sick yet, or who hopefully never, but to take away the anxiety around it, that would
Hmm.
be something I would really be happy about because I feel it
Yeah.
myself.
Everything we do, even if the goal is to share it with the world, like it's for us to begin with,
Yeah,
right? I guess
yeah.
this is inevitable and this is the way it should be because if it touches you, if it moves you, then it's the thing for you to do. So how can we actually get this book?
Oh, you can get it on Amazon. We have
Okay,
it.
that's easy.
It's very easy. Yeah. Just type
So
in
is it
how to
an
speak
audio
cancer.
book or is it a physical book or both or what is
We
it at
have
the moment?
at the moment, yeah, the English book is at the moment available in print and ebook.
Hmm.
And then the Swedish version is in ebook, and the German version is an ebook version. They will get print ready in January sometime. Yeah.
Hmm.
So these three languages, and then just type in how to speak cancer
Hmm.
and or att tala om cancer or Krebs verstehen. Um,
Well, that's
well,
not
I
so
think
easy.
schwierig. But you know, I can share the links with you.
Yes, please.
And then you can add them because obviously it's a different page for all the books. I haven't really
Right.
figured out yet how to connect them because I just published them this week. So
So if anybody knows, just
I will
give us
figure
a
it out.
hand over here.
Yeah, or if anybody knows, you can contact me on LinkedIn. That would be great too. But I'm sure Noor knows, and Art of Diversity Press is a big help with all this stuff. And
Very
they are
good.
working on the print version now. Yeah. So,
So
oh,
this is an amazing project. I thought we really had to talk about it.
thank
Let's
you.
talk about it from this perspective for now. I'm sure there will be others in the near
Hopefully.
future.
Yeah.
But so I thought everybody who doesn't know or who listens to the podcast or who comes across it, whatever, doesn't matter. All it matters is that people get to know about it because, of course, there's great value for anyone to actually look into this book. If you're more into terminology, there's a glossary there. You already told me, right? I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's so necessary. I think glossaries should be everywhere. But
Yeah, and in all the versions which are not English, you even have the glossary in the, you know, in
Mhm,
German and English in the German book. So you
right.
have already, yeah,
Yeah, so this is
a
a
term
thing I
base.
think should be everywhere, and government documents, hospital documents, because I mean, most people do not know
Yeah,
jargon, right? And it's
yeah,
inevitable sometimes in some circumstances that you use it, and therefore it needs to be somewhere because people need to be able to understand what you're talking about. Or they might think they know and they don't, or they might think that they don't and they do. So having a
yeah.
glossary in many circumstances should write a blog about it because I am a firm believer in glossaries in all sorts of documents that people have access to and they're not so easy to understand. So thank you so much, Catherine. This has been
Thank
amazing,
you.
right?
Thank you so
We
much.
I hope to talk to you very soon again about this and other subjects. Thank you so much for being here. I know you have lots to do. I know you have other recordings to do right after this. So everybody, look for Catherine's work everywhere. LinkedIn is your universe in a
Yeah,
nutshell,
that's true.
right? You can find anything there. But of course, I'll also have the links and profile and all of that under anything that I publish about this episode. So thank you so much for being here, Catherine, and good luck with all of your amazing projects for the present and the future. And we will see you around because I'm sure that's exactly what's going to happen. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. I really appreciate it.